Hey everybody, welcome into the makeshift Lettermen Row headquarters. I am Austin Ward, joined for the first time on this show, BuckIQ, by Anthony Schlegel, former Ohio State linebacker, attack and dominate the difference. And Schlegs, we're going to try and break down a little defense and some linebackers. I know we'll have your attention. Nobody gets more, feedback than Tuf Borland. I wonder when you watch that guy, what the first thing that comes into your mind is.
I love Tuf Borland. Tough, smart, leader. Tough is very similar to how I was, right? I mean, in today's game, everybody's looking for like the prototypical freak. Like Tough is very similar to my size, right? Height-wise, stature. He's a really thick, strong, physical linebacker, right? And the thing that I think people don't realize is that last year he came back and was playing on a torn Achilles that he came back from in like 6 weeks or 6 months, which normally is like a year-long thing, right? And they're like, oh, he's just be this. Like I remember at the end of my junior year, I played 6 games with a torn MCL. Yeah, I'm not going to be 100%. I'm wearing a Donjoy on my knee, for Pete's sake, right? I'm not going to be super fast when I'm running around with an extra, 7 to 8 pounds on one leg. So, but you do what you got to do. And so for me, I've loved Tough since the day he came in because, one, very similar to the way that I play the game. Hard-nosed, tough, physical guy, always in the right position. And I think he's always handled his business and done it the right way. And you also see a guy that's been a 2-year captain. I mean, he was a sophomore captain voted on by his teammates. That's something that you can't, just throw to the wayside. Like, this is a leader of the Ohio State University football team, right? And so obviously he's doing things in practice, in spring football, during the season that gives his linebacker coach and Coach Washington now the confidence to put him in there. Yeah. If not, somebody else would have beat him out because of all the, the talent that we have. But they haven't. And why? Because of exactly who I said Tuf Borland is. Yeah. Tough, smart, leader, physical, prototypical Ohio State linebacker.
Not a coincidence. We picked one drive from the Penn State game to break down, do something a little bit different. Tuf Borland's name was in the box score 3 times on this drive, so it helped figure out and break that down. We're going to have Schlegs dive into the film for us right now. Let's roll the tape. All right, Schlegs, here we go. Let's dive into this one. It was one of the biggest games of the season, really kicked it off for Ohio State there in that stretch run to go win the Big Ten. This was Penn State. It was early on, and got these linebackers. It was kind of a different look for Ohio State. They had 4 guys out there, and it seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it's what at the very beginning where we were talking about Tuf Borland. He's over there running the show, getting everybody lined up, hostile environment. You're on defense, everybody's yelling. Right there, he's in on the first play. He had good outside leverage because he knew that he had a weak side linebacker that was supposed to be his cutback player, and that's Pete Werner. So again, like the strength of the offense was to the left, but their front was set to the right. So there was obviously a field call, right? So it's easy. Hey, field right. That's how they lined up. Now you got, Tufts down here at the bottom. You got a bunch up front. Boom, good blitz right up the gut. Right, guy got out on time. Pete did a good job against their tight end, who's a really good player. But you're seeing they got 3 and they got 4 linebackers on the field at a time, especially when you have a D-line the way we did, right? That same play.
Yeah.
You want to drop his pad level down. You can't have a guy get cut right there, right? So you want to put the pressure and make sure that he gets it out on time. He just can't sit there and pat the football and have a great throw. And he has another blitz later on that's really good.
What is it about, it seemed like Ohio State got more creative with these packages than maybe they had been a couple years before. It's not, we don't have to talk about the previous coaching staff bad or anything like that. They helped win a lot of football games, but this was the kind of thing that you really saw until last year, like Madison and Washington, those guys, Hafley, they got a lot more creative, it seemed like to me.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's football IQ. It's right, it's coaches knowing what our guys are capable of, and then it's also going back and saying how much can they digest? How can they play really, really fast? Well, let's put the best 11 on the field. Right here it's just a run, good run fits, build the wall, guy find a little crease, he got a couple yards. All right, great, let's go, first down. But that's kind of what you're looking for, the maturity, right? I think that early on with the previous staff, we were playing so much man coverage, guys just couldn't line up and play football, and that comes from communication from the coach to the player and the player to the player, right? So it's hard when you're thinking to play really, really fast. I think they've eliminated a lot of that. Right here you saw double pullers, and you're seeing this front, right? So, Penn State did this quite a bit where they basically had a wing and a wing, and I as a linebacker on that side, I'm watching my guard, I'm watching this wing, color cross my face, right? I know that's where the ball is going to be. So, boom, I can adjust accordingly. But that's where the depth of a linebacker comes in. If you play too tight to the line of scrimmage, which we saw a couple times 2 years ago, guys were playing really, really tight, you can't see the color cross your face on where I need to be. It's why it's nice that you saw him right there. He was backed up about 4.5, 5 yards. You can see those things and react. It's a lot easier to react downhill than horizontally, right? So, boom, moving guys back in their initial alignment and stance to 4.5, 5 yards allows you to see everything.
Right.
Bam. Again, they're like, what do you say? All right, he said, close left, or strong left.
This is the thing right here. I know you watched this clip beforehand. It's Tuf Borland getting to the sideline. Like, people have brought up his speed over and over. It's like,
I have no clue why they do that, right? I mean, do you have to line up a guy individually one-on-one on like a really fast running back and have him shut him down? I mean, he's all the way over on the other side of the quarterback, right? They're probably spying, or he's spying a running back, and then the guy breaks out. He gets over the top, right? He doesn't go backdoor on the guy. He takes away the quarterback's angle, and right? So right there, he's in the line, boom, gets over the top of the offensive lineman, takes away the guy's angle, forces him out of bounds. Because he knows that if I go underneath that guy, I'm not going to be able to catch him, right? And are we promoting linebackers that can't, that have to rely upon their speed? Ryan Shazier could go around a guy, but Ryan Shazier also ran a 4.4 and sometimes took bad steps. But if I know what I'm doing, like Tuf does, and I can get over the top of a guy and force him. You saw his lateral speed. That quarterback completely had the angle, and you're not saying that the quarterback's all out, speed demon, but he's not getting a first. But he's not getting a first down, and Tuf forced him out of bounds because he had a great angle and he knew what was going on.
Yeah, Clifford can certainly move a little bit too. I think that's, we've seen that in other clips. Like, Tuf Borland has enough athleticism to do everything that Ohio State needs him to do, and so does this guy, Pete Warner. He doesn't come in for nearly as much of that heat maybe as Tuf Borland, but he has faced some of it because he was part of those struggles 2 years ago. But this is an example of a guy who I think can, Ohio State will play him anywhere on defense, and he can get the job done.
I mean, good blitz. I mean, notice that, right? His helmet was under the guy's chin. I'm talking about Tuf and Malik, right? Pushed him back into the pocket. Guy couldn't really necessarily step in and throw there. You had their really good tight end one-on-one matched up with Pete Warner, right? And Pete had a little bit of that, but he eliminated a lot of those doubts this last year because that was supposed to be the time on third down when you were in the bullet position. So right there, he didn't give the inside away, right? He forced the guy to go outside, drove on the ball, got his inside hand, knocked it away. Pete does a phenomenal job, and that's why you saw that bullet position, of which everybody talked about, completely evaporate because they knew, at the end of the day, we can play base, which is three linebackers. We can play them on the field. People don't realize this, but when we played base in our nickel package. We had three linebackers, 3 D linemen, and 5 DBs. And we ran that probably 80% of the time. So you have two linebackers, right, Malik and Tuf, on a blitz. You have Pete Warner one-on-one with number 87. Does a great job driving on the ball. Yeah, he had great feet initially when the play started. Great inside leverage. And then he drew right here, inside leverage, take it away. Boom, guy runs it out. I can close that distance, get in there. Are we expecting this guy to get a pick every single time? Like, what's the expectation level? That's a phenomenal play all the way around by our defense.
And it ends with Ohio State getting off the field, so Ohio State can't complain about that defensive effort. Set the tone early on. The Buckeyes got that big win. They won the Big Ten, and they gave Anthony Schlegel something to break down for his first appearance on a makeshift quarantine version of BuckIQ. Schlegs, thanks for your insight, man.
Absolutely, buddy.
All right, we'll see you next time on LettermenRow.com. See ya.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and you know we got BuckIQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.